Hello everybody, this is Global Warming Skeptic, and time to unlock some more of Kyle's secular bullshit. Now this little twerp has been kind of put on the back burner because I had more relevant things to talk about, but look at the desperation. And we're going to play all or most of this video, and I'll respond to it as it goes, because this reeks of desperation on his part. Let's listen.
We had a new kind of domestic attack over the weekend in North Carolina. Huffington Post explains here. Police in North Carolina are investigating the firebombing and vandalism of a local Republican Party office in which the perpetrators threw flammable material, I think like a Molotov cocktail, through the window and spray painted a swastika on an adjacent building. And the message said, "Nazi Republicans, get out or else." The incident occurred overnight Saturday at the GOP headquarters of Orange County in the town of Hillsborough, about 40 miles northwest of Raleigh. The North Carolina Democratic Party issued a statement as soon as they learned about this, and they said the following, quote, "We strongly condemn this attack. Violence has..."
Now, I want you to just note the Democratic positions, and I want you to see what's missing.
"There's no place in our political system, and we hope the perpetrators of this attack are brought to swift justice, and we are thankful that no one else was hurt. Our deepest sympathies are with everyone at the North Carolina Republican Party." And then, on top of that, on Sunday night, a GoFundMe campaign urged Democrats to donate money to help reopen that GOP office. And it exceeded its goal of $10,000 within just a few hours, maybe even under an hour. I think they raised $13,000. So you have a denunciation from the North Carolina Democrats. You have Democrats raising money to try to reopen the office because they feel horrible about this. And Hillary herself...
Now, notice the slipping in of the assignment of motive. First of all, it wasn't just Democrats who were encouraged. People were encouraged. So for you to assign that to just Democrats as if it was just Democrats who gave is nonsense. And in fact, we have proof that when it comes to charitable donations, Republicans give much more to charity than Democrats. Chronicles of Philanthropy, look that up. Moving on.
Came out and said, quote, "The attack on the Orange County headquarters for the North Carolina GOP office is horrific and unacceptable. Very grateful that everyone is safe." So you have across the board Democrats going, "Oh, for Christ's sake, man, this is terrible, this is wrong, we don't condone this, violence is not okay, violence is not the answer, violence is not acceptable, this is immoral, this is unethical, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't..."
Now, don't you just find it a little bit interesting that Kyle's saying this while knowing about WikiLeaks? And I'm not sure if this came out before or after he said that, but here's a video, Project Varietas, I guess is how you pronounce it. Rigging the election, video 2, mass voter fraud. This and the first video in their series, which dealt with character, basically expose the fact that the DNC sends people to rallies and they bus them in. It's called bird dogging, and they incite violence, commit violence. They, quote, "pay mentally ill people to do crazy things." So, there's a public and a private position to these things, Kyle, and I don't think you got that from the Podesta emails. I'll give you, this probably did not come out when you made this statement, but the Podesta emails are right there, Kyle. They're all over there. Go search on WikiLeaks for yourself. And if you don't want to go through the thousands of emails, a huge percentage of which contain at least some evidence of corruption, then look at Twitter or look at WikiLeaks itself, because they'll post highlights and they'll give you the worst of it as they found. And there are others going through as well. Breitbart, and there's a few that'll cover it. And I'm not a big fan of even the alt-right all the time, but they're at least covering the emails, so that's why I'm referencing them. Let's move on to more Kyle nonsense.
Here, raising money for them. Here, come on, here, take the money. We can't believe this happened. This was horrible. By the way, and this all happened before there was an investigation. So some people are saying, hey, are there examples in history of, the Reichstag fire of... all right, burn it down.
You're going there, Kyle? You're going to go to the Reichstag? Is that where you're really going with this? It's really interesting because if you look up things like Fahrenheit 911, other videos of 9/11 truthers, what do they cite? They will cite, oh, false flags exist because the Reichstag fire. Listen to yourself. So, you're going to bring up Alex Jones kind of stuff. The very man you despise, you talk about conspiracies, lizard men, etc. But yet when this fits your narrative, Kyle, when it fits your narrative, oh, all of a sudden now the Reichstag fire is relevant. We could bring that up about any conspiracy theory you want. Let's bring up false flags. Let's bring up hidden documents and all this other conspiracy theory stuff. It's ridiculous, and you're going to see even more unraveling as this video goes on. Let's continue.
And blame the other people. It's happened. Now, again, I don't know that that's the case here, but some people are claiming that's the case here. There hasn't been an investigation yet. My feelings on that are it's much more likely to not be the case.
So, notice how he's using the very same Donald Trump tactic that he has repeatedly denounced throughout his videos. Where, how Trump says, I'm not saying, I'm just saying, that kind of thing. Other people are saying it, but I'm not saying it. And Kyle has repeatedly said that Trump does this to distance himself from the point by not having to be held accountable. It's kind of a fair point, but look who's doing it now. Let's move on.
But I guess there is a chance that's the case. We don't know until there's an investigation. But so even before any investigation, the Democrats are coming out and saying, bad, wrong, don't do it, terrible. And go ahead, try to find audio of Hillary Clinton saying, yeah, do violence against the Republicans. She doesn't say that because she actually agrees with them on way too much stuff, which is one of the reasons I really despise her. So let's be clear about that. But even though all that happened, what did Trump do? Quote, animals representing Hillary Clinton and Dems in North Carolina just firebombed our office in Orange County because we are winning at the North Carolina GOP. Okay. Look, Donald Trump himself really has.
What's interesting about that is listen to his reaction of Donald Trump sensationalizing an attack. Listen to that reaction. That's the kind of frustration that both sides are feeling, Kyle. Because here's the thing. You're talking about waiting for investigations and being frustrated at sensationalizing something that is premature, where not all the facts have come out. But yet look at what you've done for the past few days. You parrot the mainstream media, CNN, NBC, MSNBC, Even Fox News does some of it, where they talk about anybody who makes an accusation against Trump is automatically given the benefit of the doubt. Let's put their name and face up there as an accuser. No evidence that what any of them are saying is true. No facts, no police reports, no documents. Just extremely faulty stories, and yet you're going to justify it. And I've heard your other videos, and while they did not have enough content for me to do a secular BS video on it, the reality is that you take almost no evidence. Your line of evidence, Kyle, is Trump said it on a bus, other women are claiming it, therefore it must be true, even though there's no connection at all. You have no link of causality whatsoever. Let's move on.
Called for and been the spark of a lot of political violence. I'm not just saying that. You've seen the clips from his different rallies where he's talking about protesters. I'd like to punch him in the mouth. You know what used to happen to a guy like this when he came and did something like this and spoke out? Don't worry, I'll pay you legal bills if you attack him. And there have been people that have attacked people at his rallies.
And there have been people who have attacked people at Hillary Clinton rallies. Look it up on YouTube, people. Don't take Kyle's word for it. He's not being impartial. Look up videos of Trump supporters being attacked, chased, sucker punched, hit with objects, had objects thrown at them, had property stolen. If you look it up, you will see countless examples of Democratic violence against Trump supporters. There's the case where a woman was locked out and she got caught in a sea of protesters where she was not allowed to pass, and they repeatedly threw eggs in her face. She had no way of escaping or anything. So Kyle, okay, there are some incidents at Trump rallies. But number one, again, I'm going to bring up Project Varietas. This covers that. Because they bus people to rallies, and they say specifically they protest outside of the rally itself because Secret Service inside. And if you listen to Trump supporters talk about their experiences, you will hear almost every one of them say, in the line to get into the rally, the protesters are trying to agitate and start fights. And often they instigate violence because, like, I'll repeat the line again, they pay mentally ill people and homeless people, or they'll take them out to dinner in order to do, quote, whatever we want. That is directly what they've said. So again, I encourage you to watch this video. And here, while we're on the subject, let's look up something in the Podesta emails. This is WikiLeaks right here. Now if you see, now you won't see a lot of bird dogging, the specific term at least. Well, here's a few. See, correct the record. Let's look up, see if we can find it. Okay, that's... Alright, hang on. Let's look up bird dogging. Probably get better result. Okay, here's a reference to bird dogging that you're going to see right here. Okay. So let's... Yeah, our members are bird dogging Republican candidates in character all over the country. They dress up as execs from Republic Corp, a not so fictitious merger between the Republican Party and multinational corporations, and go to events. So there is precedent for this in these Podesta emails. Now, again, bird dogging Republican presidential candidates on DAPA. So, and here's HA4. This must be because I haven't seen this one. There's only two from yesterday's, but let's see. Okay, this just has birdie and dogging. But anyhow, the point is there's precedent for this, so let's move on.
Never mind the other countless examples of shutting down people's First Amendment rights. He had a media blacklist. Okay, we're not going to have people who disagree with us here.
Okay, interesting, because when it comes to people getting banned from private events from Democrats, you talk about the right to refuse service based on actions. First Amendment does not give you the right to have a platform with a private place. The First Amendment applies only to the government, right, Kyle? Right? Right? And that's the point we're looking at here. He's not shutting down anybody's First Amendment right, because they don't have a First Amendment right to be at a Trump rally. He has the right to refuse anybody service for any reason. Moving on.
He sued Bill Maher and The Onion over satire pieces. The list goes on and on how the guy is deeply authoritarian and he's kind of comfortable with political violence. He said after the 2012 election, when Mitt Romney lost, he called for a revolution. He said revolution because he was.
And I guess revolution always means violence, right? So when Bernie Sanders called for a political revolution, I guess he was just talking about people pulling out their Springfields, wasn't he, Kyle? Don't be stupid.
Looking at the popular vote, like halfway through the election, when at the time when Romney was up in the popular vote, but they had projections that later on Obama would win because the vote counts had not come in from more Democratic-leaning places. So they have, a method behind this and statistics behind this. Obama won that election handily, but idiot Trump was.
Just so you know, he won it by 2%. That's not handily.
He's calling for revolution on fucking Twitter. So he's totally comfortable with political violence. He's advocating for people to do political violence. But what happens? When a despicable act happens against the North Carolina GOP office, even though the Democrats are immediately saying, we denounce this is not right, here, have some money, Hillary Clinton's like, don't do it, terrible.
Now, I just want you to note, don't necessarily listen to the words, but just listen to the unraveling of his emotions, his furious nature.
Wrong, bad, I'm happy everybody's okay. He immediately blames them. Blame Hillary. Blame Hillary and the North Carolina Democrats, the same people who released the statement saying, no, this is not okay, and the same people who helped raise money to try to reopen the office. Blame them, blame them, blame them. Well, this is only exactly the kind of person he is, and this is, for example, how he thinks of Muslims. This is why, directly after some ISIS attack, he turned around and said, we want a, quote, total and complete shutdown of Muslims coming to the U.S. Ban all Muslims from coming to the U.S. Ban all Muslims because ISIS. Ban all Muslims because Al-Qaeda. Well, that's bigoted thinking. It is. It just is. Blame all Christians because KKK. Ban all right-wingers because sovereign citizens and David Duke. That's a bigoted form of thinking. That's a silly way of thinking. And he can't break free from it. He just can't fucking break free from it. And this is another example of it right here. So, dude, try for just a second to not be divisive and to be reasonable. And by the way, to the people, assuming it is...
So, in other words, just don't read the WikiLeaks. Don't listen to Project Veritas, however you pronounce that thing. But, like, and that's Kyle's whole message here is ignore everything that we've learned in the past week. Pretend it doesn't exist. And you notice he doesn't even go deep into the Podesta emails. If you look at, let's look at his channel. We're at 616. We'll go back to that point. 616. And let's see how many things he's done on WikiLeaks. Donald Trump to Alex Jones. Hillary Clinton of doing drugs. Hillary Clinton wants wild economic... Where's the WikiLeaks? Let's see, maybe we'll find it here. See, I thought I'd find more than this. I'm kind of disappointed here. Look at this. Kyle Kulinski. He says he's impartial. And you fans tell me he's impartial. And there was a little bit of gray area where you could say that. But here, no WikiLeaks, no Project Veritas. Nothing. And this is from a week ago, so we're past WikiLeaks. I think, yeah, here's one thing about WikiLeaks. One thing. So, if we can get back,
we had...
see what, 616. We'll go 614. So, Kyle is not impartial. I just want you guys to understand that he is in the bag for Hillary Clinton. Yes, he will pay some lip service to her corruption, but he wants her to win the election. Make no mistake about it. He has said that he would vote for her if he were not in New York and he were in a battleground state. And he's in the bag for her. And this video is an example of him trying to pretend it just doesn't exist. That the WikiLeaks stuff does not exist. And that we have learned nothing in the last week about the corrupt process. And again, please read the WikiLeaks. I don't care if you think it's a Russian spy or whatever. You have the right to that information. Don't listen to CNN. Don't listen to Kyle. Read the WikiLeaks. They're there for a reason. They exposed the Iraq War of George Bush. They've exposed corporate bank scandals, everything. So, WikiLeaks is not being pro-Donald Trump. They're releasing what comes out. Let's move on. Let's finish this up.
Be reasonable. And by the way, to the people, assuming it is, Democrats, which is the most likely scenario, and so supposed leftists who did this. Okay, you guys are fucking idiots. You're immoral, you're unethical, and you're using the tactics you claim to despise. Oh, we hate Trump because Trump is violent. So let's go do violence. That makes no sense! That makes no sense! That makes no sense! That makes no sense! We're so against the political violence that Trump is pushing that now we're going to do political violence. Do you not see that contradiction? And also it's massively counterproductive because now you made it so that the right-wingers in North Carolina, probably the police force, which is overwhelmingly leaning right, now they're going to crack down on anybody who they think might be a Democrat, which means they're going to crack down, for example, on the entire black community as a result of it. So well done. You just created more victims out of your ultimate...
So, this is another case of Kyle trying to say, don't look. Don't pay attention. When somebody calls out the truth, don't listen to them. That's basically what it is we should not call out the truth because the police will crack down on Democrats. First of all, if you'd stop voting for them, they wouldn't need to be cracked down on. And he makes, this is just where he unravels, where the logic just becomes meaningless. Like, we're against political violence, so let's do political violence. Are you talking about Republicans doing that? Because what you said does not follow and does not make sense. Democrats are the ones who did this. They are violent at rallies just as well. And so the point is that Kyle is really grasping at straws here. He is desperate. He does not want to look at the WikiLeaks. He does not want you to look at the WikiLeaks, more importantly, nor the truth. Thanks for listening. God bless.